Hi, this is Melanie for the Pardesi channel. I'm here to do a review of the Telugu film Mahanati. So I've been anticipating this film for so long because I am a follower on Twitter of Dulquer Salmaan. I'm a big fan of his. And once he was cast to do this period film, then I started to be interested. What is this? It was his debut in the Telugu industry. And through you, thank you all commenters when I did a reaction to the trailer, who educated me about Savitri, who sent me links to clips of hers from famous songs. And when I said, what film should I see? You all said, you have to see Maya Bazaar. And I'm so glad, so glad that I saw Maya Bazaar the week before I saw Mahanati, because Savitri's performance was so amazing. And the very first appearance we have in the film Mahanati of Keerthy Suresh as Savitri is from a famous scene from Maya Bazaar, and I immediately knew what scene it was, and I just felt like I was in on the whole thing, and that I could really judge, having seen a full film performance of Savitri. I could judge, did Keerthy Suresh nail it? Yes, she really did. She really seemed to bring the look and the spirit of Savitri. From what little I know of only seeing her in one film, she really seemed to encapsulate it. And so, you know, when you're doing a big biopic film, a big period film like this, of someone that is so famous, that's the first thing anyone is really thinking about. You know, like when Michelle Williams is playing Marilyn Monroe, you know, the first thing is, you know, they can make the makeup, but does she nail it? Does she nail the performance? Is it believable? Are you sort of, you know, taken out of your head that this is Keerthy Suresh, and are you seeing Savitri? And I thought she really nailed it. She did an exceptional job, especially in the first half of the film when you're seeing the rise of her career and you're seeing so many classic scenes from classic movies and just seeing the rise, and she's playing her from a teenager all the way till the end. And amazing. What a scope of a film for Nag Aswin, the director. Oh my gosh, this is only, I still can't get over the fact this is only his second feature-length film. I mean, what a scope, what an ambition to take on something this big. A huge period biopic spanning all the way from the 50s to the 80s. I felt like probably the audience in India can judge much better than I can if he really nailed all the period details of the looks of the different eras. But to my eyes, he really did. There seemed to be such attention to detail, such attention to capturing the look of different sets, recreating famous scenes and the sets of her filming those scenes, and it just seemed to be so dead on. Amazing performances throughout the film. Keerthy Suresh blew me away. This girl is only 26 years old. She has done a handful of films. I mean, she did some as a child, but really it's not like she has 20 films on her belt. This is a girl that's done half a dozen films or so, and wow, I was really blown away. I can't judge because I have not seen a full film performance of Gemini Ganesan to know if Dulquer really nailed. Frankly, I think from the pictures I've seen of Gemini, Dulquer is more handsome, but maybe that's my bias showing. I asked the people sitting next to me. By the way, the theater was packed. I was at the first showing in my Chicago suburb. They're only showing here in Chicago the Telugu version, not the Tamil. The theater was packed. And I asked after the film was over, I turned to the women next to me and I said, did Dulquer nail the Telugu? Because my ears can't judge if he had a thick accent or what? I know this is his first Telugu film. She said, yeah, he did, so when you see it, let me know in the comments if you felt like he did well. Supposedly he dubbed for himself, at least to my ears he did, because I know his voice pretty well. His performance, I thought, was particularly strong. I mean, at least from the story for film. I don't think we can really have spoilers because we all know the course of her life. And I did more reading up on her, and it seemed like they really covered everything that I had read about, from her beginnings as a poor, fatherless child, all the way to her rise to stardom, to her decline in alcoholism, her illness, her being in a coma, all of it. Everything is in there, warts and all. And so this is an enormous canvas to cover in one film. And it's almost 3 hours long. But the main thing with Dulquer's performance is you have to believe that someone is so charming and she would be so enchanted with him. The film is saying that she's going in with her eyes completely open. I don't know if that was really completely true in real life. I don't know all the details of that. I'm not sure anyone could really know. But you have to believe that this guy is so compelling that she would marry him, knowing all of his history, and which is the way they're presenting it. And let me tell you, if he's as charming as Dulquer, I could believe it. I could believe it. So he gave a particularly strong performance. Vijay Deverakonda and Samantha Akkineni play newspaper people. They're trying to write this big story about her, research what her last journey was about, and so forth. And they were really cute together. I love their dynamic. And Samantha Akkineni gives a speech in the final 15 minutes that I think is one of the finest of her career. She is so affected her character, so affected of learning about all that Savitri has gone through her life, that she makes major changes in her own life. And so she just gives a speech at the end that was really something. That was particularly strong. So many amazing cameos. We've already heard Naga Chaitanya does indeed play his grandfather in some short scenes where he would be filming with Savitri, and those were really fun to see, playing his grandfather A&R. I'm not going to spoil how they brought NTR in. I didn't recognize all the character actors, but Prakash Raj has a role as a producer. Mohan Babu plays Ranga Rao, who was in Maya Bazaar. And my favorite scene that I talked about in my Maya Bazaar review, where she imitates his walk and everything, they show her method of observing him and then they show her filming that scene. So again, thank you so much for telling me to see that film before I saw this, because it was so important in my enjoyment, my full enjoyment of knowing how good Keerthy was capturing Savitri in those scenes. She just really nailed it. So the film is long. It is almost 3 hours. And I was frankly kind of surprised. There's lots of snippets of small songs from the past. They must have gotten permission. I assume they got permission from so many film songs to include from Savitri's film career. We've heard the Muga Manasalu song, and that's really the only big, oh my gosh, that was like a Flight of Fancy, crazily filmed, like takes place on the moon. Like it reminded me of the planetarium scene from La La Land. It may have been inspired by that because they fly through the air, and it's just, so I love that. I'm not sure that everybody in the theater was as equally enthralled with that scene as I was. And then the other songs are more montage kind of things. That's the only one. And Dulquer doesn't really dance. He sort of twirls her around a little bit, but he doesn't really out and out dance. So I was, but it's still a wonderful song. But I guess I was a little surprised that there weren't more full. It was more like little snippets of classic songs, but maybe it was because they had to include so many of them that the film was lengthy enough as it was to not stop and have 6 full songs. The other thing is that I felt the first half was super strong. Just, your delight at seeing Keerthy Suresh embody Savitri and play her from a teenager, and just the rise of her career and showing her becoming a star was so compelling. And it also had so much of the romance of her meeting Gemini and how they come together and so forth. So that just felt like it was just, the pacing was awesome. And then, as typically happens with a lot of biopics like this, when you have a star who rises and then falls, the second half slowed down, and they just naturally did because of the story itself. But I felt maybe it dragged a little bit. The pacing wasn't as good. And also, I'm not sure Keerthy's performance was quite as strong in the scenes where she really had to break down and show the alcoholism, although the makeup in those scenes was very good, because they were showing how she she gained weight and she had the puffy face and all of that. So I felt like the makeup was very, very good in changing her look as she was in her 40s, as she was at the end of her career. The second half, just for me, wasn't as strong as the first half. But it's still well worth seeing. I would still give it like 4 stars out of 5. It's not a perfect film, but oh my gosh, the ambition of this for Nag Aswin to make something like this, of this scope and scale for your second film. Wow. Hats off to the production design of recreating all of this. The costumes were amazing. There was an interesting choice that Nag Aswin had, and that I'm not sure if everybody noticed it, but the scenes that were filmed in 1981, which was, the present day of Vijay Deverakonda's character and Samantha Akkineni as the newspaper people, that was filmed, and it looked grainy, and it just had, they must have put a filter on or something. So it looked like film did in 1981. So it's the only way that I can describe it. And then when we were seeing the flashbacks to the past, that's when it was like full, brilliant colors. And so it was, instead of like the flashback being sepia toned, it was like more real, if you know what I'm saying, because it was just so much more saturated with color and vibrant than the 1981. So I thought that was an interesting choice of how they changed the lighting and just the look of the film between the flashback sections and the 1981 sections that were towards the end of her life, which, you're not seeing her, you're just seeing Samantha Akkineni and Vijay going around trying to talk to different people from her past. So I felt like the framing device of that was good, because Samantha's character is sort of like us, of the younger generation, learning about why this actress was so great and how she was so generous with everyone that she really gave all her money away, and ended up in poverty. So it really seemed to show all of her life, the whole scope of it, and it's so tragic that it ended the way that it did. It's amazing that kind of her lasting legacy was that there's a rehabilitation center that, was built. The money that she didn't have when she needed it then went to help others. There were some other actresses like Shalini Pandey, I recognize from Arjun Reddy, has a small role. There was probably even more faces that I missed that other people would catch. The music was really strong. I've been listening to the soundtrack over and over and over again. I'm loving the soundtrack. I just loved the experience of this whole film, of anticipating it for this last year, of enjoying the performances and having all of these great actors together in one film, and mostly learning about Savitri, and the excuse of watching Maya Bazaar. Like, I just feel so enriched that I learned about Savitri, that I learned about this history, and that I watched Maya Bazaar, and I experienced all of that. It's just been a wonderful week of classic Telugu cinema. Anyway, I can't wait to hear When you see this film, please comment below and tell me your thoughts and how you liked it. How did Dulquer do with the Telugu? Because my ears can't hear it. I'm watching with subtitles. Let me know how he did with that, because this is his debut. And what were your favorite parts of the film? For me, my favorite part was when she recreated that scene where she's imitating Ranga Rao in that one song before the wedding. And that was my favorite in Maya Bazaar, and it was my favorite seeing it in this film, seeing the making of it was awesome. Hats off to Nag Aswin for a wonderful film. If you enjoyed this film review of Mahanati, please like the video, share it, follow us on Twitter at PardeziYT, subscribe to the Pardesi channel, and then you'll get a notification if you hit the bell whenever I have a new trailer reaction, film review, or live stream. Oh, and also remember, faithful subscribers, that I am going to be out of town next week and not have internet really, because I'm going to be in Mexico. So there will be a little hiatus of reviews. So I will be back, but you may not see anything for a week or so.